Hello coaches, welcome back to another Modern Soccer Coach Breakdown. This week we're going to take a look at recovery exercises, working on attackers getting more confident in those high pressure situations in front of goals, and then looking at defensive players responding positively in transition. As always, if you enjoy, please give it a like and a subscribe. And if you haven't already, please check out more resources on the Modern Soccer Coach website for session ideas, modernsoccercoach.com, on the link below. Okay, recovery exercises, let's go. Okay, as always with these videos, we start with why. Why am I a big fan of introducing recovery exercises and these concepts into training sessions? Well, quite simply, traditional overload exercises, 3v2 to goal, sometimes lack game realism because they're not challenging players in terms of time. Usually that 3v2 can go for 10 seconds, sometimes 15. If they don't score initially, it can turn into a possession exercise, and then you lose that mindset of scoring goals and creating chances. The reality is that every attacking situation in the game is subject to time and space constraints. So how do we create that in our exercises where players are used to time reducing and the chance becoming more difficult? In addition, if you want to increase the physical demands, especially in pre-season, this is a really good way to do it. So we're going to look at 3 different exercises that challenge players technically, physically, and then in terms of making that decision with confidence in the final third. Here we go. Alright, so this first exercise is an individual 1v1 exercise. Maybe not designed in terms of decision making, but definitely challenges players in terms of where pressure is coming from. And blue faces red, they play it back and forth. On the coach's signal, red players becomes the attacker, has to turn around to the other side of the cone on the dribble. The blue player then stays on the outside and looks to catch them. You can't shoot before the penalty spot. It's a really good exercise in terms of reaction times and then acceleration. It's also fun and competitive. You can have 2 games going, one on each side. As one recovers, the other one goes. So the whole team can get involved. And a really good exercise to start teaching those principles of where pressure's coming from and that you don't have a long time to make that decision. The second exercise is small group work. It's 2v2 to goal inside 2 boxes. The red attacking pair against the blue defensive pair. The blue defender starts by passing the ball to a red diagonally and then sprints out to defend. Nothing unusual there, but the other blue player has to go the other way, sprint around the cone and then come back in. So from an attacking perspective, if it's done efficiently, you've got 2v1s to goal. If the defenders can delay and get their angles right, it becomes a 2v2. Defensive angles are really important. It challenges the attackers in terms of speed and quality. And as this exercise develops, you might see the attackers realizing that they can use that 2v1 initially very quickly and increase the time they have then in that second box to goal. Really good exercise to allow players to find the challenges of speed, time, quality, and work it all together. And then the third exercise is more positional work. Take a step back in terms of game situations. Where do these recovery situations typically occur? In transition, so one team is building up on a pose, which is the blue team. You can put a pattern together. They're looking at releasing a fullback into one of the gates into the advanced area. As soon as the defender dribbles through the gates and starts to go through the gates, the coach plays a second ball. Now it's a 4v3 to go with that recovering defender. Might become a 4v4 if the defenders can delay. And if the forwards can, again, get the decision making and the intensity and the speed right, then that recovering defender has a tough time impacting the play. Again, you work on decision making within a time constraint, but you also work on that defensive transition, which becomes really important if you're in a possession team and there's going to be stages of the game that you're going to be quite expansive in possession. Really good exercise to explain those different concepts. So there you have it, coaches, just some ideas about modifying overload exercises and adding the concept of that recovering defender. I'm a big fan of it because I think it improves both sides of the ball. I think you can improve decision making and getting players used to and getting confident in the time and space constraints that they're going to face in a game, but also those transition moments where players are going to have to recover into defensive positions, and the players that are already in the defensive positions, if they get their angles right and can delay, they can help that player, maybe buy them 3, 4, 5 seconds to get back into position. So I think it helps you on both sides of the ball, and then I think it also adds a lot to training sessions in terms of the tempo, in terms of the quality, and in terms of communication. So you've got all these concepts put together. which allows you to then train at a higher intensity perhaps, which allows it to be more realistic to the demands of the game. So I think there are a lot of benefits. I think if the session design is again set out well and it's consistent with your ideas and your principles and your game model, and that's communicated well, I think you've got a great chance of again bringing closer that idea of game model and what the game looks like, and then making that as realistic as possible. When you do that, players are more comfortable and confident in carrying out roles and responsibilities. Hope you enjoy that. As always, please, if you do, give it a like and a subscribe. Really, really appreciate the support of the page. If you enjoy the work and you want some more of it, please give it a like, please subscribe, and please check out modernsoccercoach.com/shop. We've got much more resources there. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Goodbye.